looking great about the whole thing. So we're very, very proud and happy to see the reaction.
We think it's really exciting because we really look at Shadow of the Tomb Raider as both the end of the trilogy, but also a perfect jumping on point because this is Lara Croft's defining moment. So it's been great to see the fans saying, yes, I can't wait to see how Lara becomes the Tomb Raider. And it's also been great to see a bunch of new people saying, okay, maybe I need to go back and play Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider because this is the Maya apocalypse. This is Lara Croft really deciding and becoming the Tomb Raider.
Oh, look at that.
That's the thing that interests me in it the most is this is kind of a story, from what I can gather, about Lara almost coming to terms with the fact that she's not perfect, that some of the mistakes that happen in the universe are actually...
Oh, look at that fish.
Can we talk about what that is going to be like for players?
Yeah, the thing that we wanted to do with this game is that we wanted to make sure that when we presented the kind of Lara was a Lara that before and Rise.
Oh, there's trapped air. Oh, look at that.
Reaction that was not the consequence of the
Pretty damn good, actually.
Cool.
From other people. And for us to really bring you a more mature Lara Croft.
Whoa!
You know,
What? Oh my God!
Right?
That was awesome.
Gotta have a little jump scare in there.
Responsibility of your action. You're just gonna go there and just take an action and without thinking about it. And the whole game, for us to say she needs to reach, you know, the maturity, is to understand the consequence. And this is what the whole game is about.
I think that's a really interesting take because, you know, originally when she was introduced, she didn't have that much personality, and then we've known that she's a caring person, she cares about her friends, she builds her relationships, but it seems like this time around it's more about her taking responsibility for who she's becoming. Was that difficult to write?
It was difficult because one of the most difficult emotion to convey...
God, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
You know,
I couldn't do it.
Don't necessarily think
Oh my goodness.
The action of your protagonist. In this case, it was very, very important from the get-go that we absolutely nailed guilt, and that's why when you played the beginning of the game, when she takes the dagger and you see all the consequence that it made, and even the child, you know, the child that you're like, oh, I could save, because normally in previous games you would be saving the child. In this case, it's happening, and you're like, oh my God, I feel the guilt
It's
of
your
what
fault.
happened.
Yeah.
And I think in addition to guilt, what I really love is it's that balance. There's more inner conflict than we've ever seen in Lara Croft before in terms of the choices.
Damn, dude.
Whoa.
Her actions. But we also have to make
I did
sure...
not
So it looks like you got to really be aware of your environments in
Yeah,
this.
I did not see that.
For Lara, she is doing what she feels is right.
I thought it was
If
a
she makes
camp.
mistake and she triggers the Maya apocalypse, and so she feels compelled to fix things. And along the way, you may question her motives and say, okay, how much is driven by revenge? You'll see Jonah acting as her moral compass. But with that guilt comes self-sacrifice and comes perseverance and comes Lara pushing through the darkest parts of her.
So this is the first tomb, right?
Darkest moments of her life.
That's what they said, yeah.
To become the Tomb Raider, and that means
So
stepping
you've
out.
got to get through this.
That I
Very
think is
poetic.
a great
Oh.
balance.
Wow,
Yeah,
dude.
about that next
Holy
story.
crap.
This does seem like her darkest story. Yeah, would you guys agree with that?
I would say there's the darkest moments in there. Of course there is. You can see a couple of snippets during the video, the trailer.
Even
But,
the tomb she's in right now. I think this is the first time that you guys will be seeing this. It looks
Yes.
pretty dark in here too.
Yeah.
It is dark.
I like how it's not a bright lit environment with a bunch of torches everywhere. That'd be unrealistic.
The terrifying and deadly aspect of it, because we want to push that. This is going to be the most Tomb Raider of the Tomb Raiders. Okay, the previous Tomb Raider. But there's a lot of also light moments in the game. One of the questions we asked ourselves the first time was like, if Lara would sit down at a cafe and exchange and making jokes, what would that be? You know, and we were like, oh, we never did that. So what would that be? And then we start having moments like that, much more positive.
Ah, there we go. Cool.
More feeling about
Yes.
humor and it's funny.
You have to
Yes.
have that balance.
Exactly.
Otherwise, the darkness starts to lose its impact. And so
Exactly.
what you need to have Lara on a roller coaster ride. You need to have her pushing. And you're right, it is the darkest in terms of the story. Oh, he's going to get me.
There's a fly in here.
You have to have those moments where Lara
Nice.
does hit rock bottom, but you also have to show how she climbs back out again. You have to see how she pushes herself, like she always has throughout the series, pushing herself beyond normal physical, human limits, mental, spiritual, emotional limits, to push through those barriers to become what she's meant to be and to do what she thinks is right. And so having that light
Whoa.
balance,
Jump up.
yeah, the dark moments are really dark. We think that's what makes this story really special.
When I wrote my first impressions of playing the game a couple of months ago, I actually said that I thought this was her darkest story yet, and I really liked that about it. But I did have a lot of people ask me, is she still likable? And I feel like she is, but that's a good follow-up, is how difficult was it to, you know, show a darker side of her.
They have to shoot an arrow up there and
Yeah.
bring it back here.
And telling her that what she's doing is wrong and she needs to think about everyone else, but still have people feel like she's that same Lara.
And that's the thing. That was a big challenge, because normally when you start and you know, their hero does
I
something.
love what
that
I'm
you
seeing
do.
here.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
do too.
difficult. But for us, like the Day of the Dead moment was very important. You see a Lara that's much more human, having conversation, Jonah, talking about what
Human.
she likes, the food that
Human.
she likes, and things like that was really important for us to expose that part of humanity, so that
The
when she
humanity.
does the things that she
Humanity?
does, you
Humanity.
understand it's
Humanity.
character
Humanity.
flaw.
You're a useless character and nobody loves you.
It's not just about how strong and the good qualities you have.
Yeah.
It's also the bad qualities and the things like, in her case, the obsession.
Yeah.
We've always striven to make Lara one of the most relatable characters possible. We always wanted to show the very grounded, very mature approach to her story. And part of that is
Nice. She got the
doing
pickaxe, the
things
climbing
that are
axe.
yeah.
I
risky
love
with
that.
her character. But to your point, she always has to feel like she's fighting for what she believes is right, and that, I think, is what keeps her relatable and likable, because she still is a hero. You know, even if she's at sometimes struggling to not become the monster she's facing, you know, at sometimes she's saying, okay, I can't live in a world where the ends justify the means. You know, she is walking right up against that line of becoming closer to truth.
Nice, dude. Look at that.
Get close to that darker side, to that shadow side, if you will, and then pulling herself away from it. That's what I think makes the journey so compelling.
Yeah, and I did also want to mention that the game's antagonist is actually kind of a likable guy.
He is a likable guy. When we start writing the story, because when you want a most relatable character like Lara Croft,
I
you
see.
want to go into much more personal.
Ah,
much
but you're
more
gonna turn it again, and you're gonna have to arrow it to bring it up and drop it down, probably.
Also, when we look at the antagonist,
Nice.
is that
Because you're gonna have to ram it through there. You just gotta go the other way. Gotta go the other way.
black side of it. When is she's black? How could it be white? And we exchanging that, it became almost like a waltz. And both of them are
See if I'm
completing
right.
each other.
She's gonna arrow it and pull it up this hill,
Oh, and bring it down to smash
and then
stuff.
smash it down there. Come on, come on, come on. Get it right.
Because the other character is also human.
Yeah, it's cool to think that villains would be the hero of their own story. He is not some mustache twirling, you know, oh my god, I want to. He is doing what he thinks is right for his culture, and we don't want to.
God, I'm good, dude. I write this shit.
Where he comes from, and he is trying to remake the world in a way that he thinks would be better for humanity. Now, he's doing things that are going
Slice.
to wipe out a lot of human existence.
So is she, though, right?
Oh, there we
So
go.
that's the
Cool.
whole- that's the push and pull, right? That's the conflict, and you saw a little bit of that in the trailer
Aha,
as well that
neat.
we debuted yesterday. This idea that there are.
I love that part of these games. Kind of figuring out is like every puzzle you solve opens up another place for you to go.
Kind of understand what he's doing, and at times Lara is skirting that edge of saying, "Wow, Lara, what's your motives here?" Again, Lara will always be the hero, and he will always be the villain.
Yeah.
But we love having them kind of meet in the middle at key points.
I feel like you guys nailed that. And I could talk about the story forever, but I'm sure everyone at home wants to know about gameplay as well. So one concern that I have
there
is
it is.
that this is going to feel too similar to previous games. What has changed?
But it's because one of the things that you started with the beginning of the game. The beginning of the game is introducing all the things you've learned, all the things, so it feels a little bit similar.
It's tutorial.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
exactly. But what changed a lot is the way we build entire level design. Has we had difficulties at the beginning. We were like, oh my god, we have to change the whole way we building the levels for
Now you
traversal,
can
for
rappel,
example.
yeah.
Because you can rappel, because the previous games you can only ascend, and if you were dropping it's because you were falling, but never, because we didn't want Lara
Oh,
to lose
cool.
control when she was descending. We want her to be stay in control. So the whole way to approach level design, also the environment, also when she can basically also climb on the ceiling of things, so that also open up. So there's a lot more in the traversal than you've seen before. The same thing with combat, because we try to provide much more control to the player.
Stealth stuff is really cool.
Yeah, but there's much more opportunities, because on Rise we provide a lot more opportunities in Assault. We call that Assault, when you go full gun blazing. In this case, we wanted to make sure that because she's much more experienced and competent, she would become the world, not just being a threat, not just for the enemies, but also becoming that world. And that was important for us. A lot more option, a lot more things in terms of the experience. The same way with the tombs, for example, or when we're talking about going on the water. So we made sure that this evolution was big for each of our pillars. And exploration, the same way. We never built a hidden city. We never built a city where there was people there in the way that we did. So we have to rethink how you would be building all these hubs. So now the whole thing for us feels very, it's kind of similar, but also like having this new treatment to the entire thing. So it really feels different in terms of the overall experience when you experience all the pillars.
I think that the thing I like best about it is we're taking Lara, and this is the end of her origin story. So it is the most capable, the most calculating that you've ever seen her before.
I'm totally sold on Lara.
So
Yeah.
in order
Yeah, I
to
believe
start
her.
out,
Like,
Yeah.
I believe she could
up the ante
survive.
and
Great,
kick
great,
ass.
great
other
character.
facet
Great
of
character.
gameplay. So to Dan's point, the combat, you have more options, but you also have more challenge. In the traversal, you have more options, but you also have more challenge. The tombs, they're more
That's
than
cool
ever,
as hell.
they're bigger than ever, but they're darker, they're deadlier, they're scarier than ever before. The hub, the biggest we've ever delivered in a Tomb Raider game.
About next is like,
And
how does
there's-
that open world? That
Absolutely.
looks crazy too.
We have to take you on the roller coaster
That's
ride,
cool.
but every now and then we open it up and let you just experience the world at your own pace and say, hey, you can pause the narrative now. It's the biggest tomb we've ever delivered, or sorry, the biggest hub we've ever delivered in a Tomb Raider game. There's challenge tombs, there's side missions, there's social puzzles, there's people to
Awesome.
interact with. There's all this stuff to do. And
That's what
again,
I love to hear.
everything is about
Yeah,
raising the
I'm
stakes
really
for us.
looking for that.
And so we think that that's what really will feel different. It should
Yeah.
still feel like you're playing a Tomb Raider game,
Exactly.
but it should feel like you are playing with a Lara Croft who has been through a lot and is now really coming into her own. And the world is pushing back, and the enemies are pushing back even harder than ever to try and stop her from achieving her destiny.
I have to say, I love how passionately and easily you guys are talking about this. And I know everyone's really, really excited about it, and I love this iteration of Lara so much. So thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
I agree.
Physical, human.
So, Jdog, your thoughts? You know, IGN, I got to give them credit for that. They decent job.
They
Decent
did.
job.
My thoughts are, look, every bit of gameplay we see now, they've been dropping tons of gameplay for E3.
Yep.
It's like every day they got something else we got to look at.
Yep.
Probably my most anticipated game for the fall
Yeah.
overall. I'm a big fan of the first two games.
Yes.
Right? The first two remakes or relaunches or whatever you
Well,
want
you
to
were
call them.
playing some of, what was that, Rise?
Yep, I actually got the season pass for Rise of the Tomb Raider just the other day. I guess my disappointment with that with that whole package is just simply that there's only one like legitimate addition to the game, right? Which is like the Baba Yaga story quest, whatever, tomb,
Okay.
whatever. So they only add one little thing, and the rest of it's different modes and things like that.
Fair enough.
So that's maybe my one disappointment with it, and that's why I didn't buy the season pass for it right away. Because like, wow, you only get one additional piece of real content. So if they do a season pass for this game, I'd really like for it to be like 3 legitimate additional pieces of content like Dark Souls DLC is.
That would be cool.
So that's what I want to see for the season pass. For the game, I'm loving what I see here, guys. I really am. I mean, you're looking at what hopefully they're delivering on what they're saying. Bigger tombs, major plus. That's my favorite part of the game. More missions, side missions.
Mega hub.
Yep, big hub, lots of opportunity for side missions, kind of in a God of the War style feel, right? God of War feel where, you know, you're in the Lake of the Nine, you can follow that main quest if you want and motor to the end, or you can step back and go explore and find new areas, find side missions. So that's what I really love. That was one of my favorite parts of God of War, and that's what I want to hopefully see here as well.
One thing that I'm seeing that I really like, and they talked about it a lot in this, and I don't know if it was planned that they would talk about it that much, or if it's just something that's very apparent. Kind of the two sides of the coin. You know, yes, she's the character we're playing as, she's the hero we're playing as, but she does some bad shit.
Yeah,
And will you can you redeem yourself after, you know, dooming so many and making so many mistakes? Can you redeem yourself? I always think there's a chance for redemption. I don't ever think somebody's so far gone that they can't save themselves.
well, and you know, we talk about great TV shows that we love, right?
Yes,
Let's take Sons of Anarchy, for example,
absolutely.
and Jax, right? Even Gemma and some of these other characters in that show, they all do things that are bad, right?
Really bad.
But you kind of root for them. You kind of feel for them. You kind of root for them in a lot of
You
ways.
kind of want Jax to
So,
win.
to win
But
and come
you-
out of it.
But you know at the end of
know,
the day, he kind of has to go.
and so it's just like those are very interesting characters, right? When they have shades of gray, so to speak.
Yeah.
Or where, you know,
The
they
duality's
might
gone.
do something bad, but they have a reason behind it.
A really good reason
And-
sometimes for it.
So whether we see that with Lara necessarily, I think we will, but also as they were talking about with the main villain as well. you know, you want a villain that's just not this cookie cutter evil character that's evil because the narrative says he's evil and therefore we accept it. He's evil, but maybe his motivations are to a true point for himself, right?
What about even Thanos from Infinity War?
Sure.
Evil, bad, doing some terrible shit, but the reason for it's really not that bad.
So you got to have that. You got to have depth in your characters. I think it's something we talk about in games all the time, especially when we're talking AAA style games, larger 60+ hour things.
You need more than just a good girl versus a bad guy, good girl versus a bad girl, good guy versus a bad guy, etc.
Yeah.
You need more than just that anymore, especially as gamers get more demanding. I mean, look at you and I. How many games do we come on here and say, oh, God, that fucking sucked?
Yep.
I mean, you got to try really hard to impress us these days.
Yep. You got to have a storyline that has that multidimensionality to it. And that, like I said, choices or whatever they're going to do. But yes, I want to see a great storyline. I want to see this story that I'm riveted to, right? Where
I want to see you get pissed off at Laura and see you get cheer for Laura in the same hour episode of gameplay.
There you go. That'd be awesome.
I mean that. I want to see you do both.
It's like where you're cringing, saying, "No, Laura, don't do that, no." And then
because you know it's wrong.
Later on in the game, you're like, "Oh, Laura, yes, you can still save the day." And so it really does, like you're talking about, takes you on that emotional roller coaster.
Have to.
Very,
Has
very
to
important.
Happen. Must happen.
And of course, the gameplay's got to be good to go along with it.
Yes.
If the game plays like the other games, I'm sold. I love them. I think they're incredible. I want them bigger. I want them more dangerous. I want them more things to do. They're already doing underwater, which looks amazing. Looks really neat and interesting.
Love how that eel comes out.
Yeah, really so cool.
Very, very cool. Very
so
cool.
If we get that, hey, I'm sold, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I mean,
I'm excited for
this,
it.
like I said, my number one most anticipated game, maybe toward all the way through the end of the year. Last of Us Part 2's up there too. So this and that are going to be fighting. I know Red Dead is coming out as well. So those are three big ones for us. This one, though, in the September block is really hot for me. I'm really excited for it. I love what I'm seeing here. I got to know your thoughts.
You guys can comment down below and let us know what you're thinking, especially after seeing some of this Tomb gameplay from Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Like the video if you enjoyed our reaction, our breakdown. I'm Neil with the Balding Plebs, joined here by my brother
Jdog.
Thank you all so much for watching tonight, and don't forget, if you like our reaction content and like things like this, the best thing you can do, share it with your friends, subscribe, join our family, and we'll see each and every one of you right here next time.
Good night, everyone.
GG, you plebs.